Hello. Come on to a comfortable seated position on your mat. For this sequence, all you really need is a yoga mat. If you have a couple of blocks handy, they'll be useful for a couple of the poses. But if you don't have them, I'll offer you some modifications. So don't worry about it. You can still do the whole sequence without props. Just take a few conscious breaths here. Be aware of when you inhale. Notice when you exhale without controlling your breath. You can keep your eyes open or soften your gaze. Or if you wish and you're comfortable, you can close your eyes for a moment or so. Just breathe. So you may have heard of Metta. It's talked about more often these days. It's all about loving kindness. Think of a dear friend of yours, somebody you're really close to, maybe a partner, a family member, or a close friend. And think about how they make you feel. And think about how you like to treat them. Offering them kindness, support, compassion. That is metta, that is loving kindness. And now you can take that loving kindness and offer it to other friends and family. And one practice, one meditation practice, is to offer this metta to people that you might be struggling with or having trouble with. It's a wonderful practice, challenging, but really quite wonderful. And now take that loving kindness, the metta, and offer it to yourself. Turn inward with the metta. This too can be a very challenging practice. But give it a try. There's a lovely quote by the Dalai Lama. He says, "When we feel love and kindness towards others, it helps us also to develop inner happiness and peace." Bring your hands to your side. As you inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Turn your palms out, and as you exhale, lower them down. Inhale, lift. And exhale. Inhale, reach your arms up. Reach your fingers towards the ceiling, engaging your arms. As you exhale, twist to the left and lower your arms. Inhale back to center, and exhale, twist to the right. Inhale back up and down. Back to center. And exhale over to the other side. Inhale your arms up, back to center, and lower your arms down. Place your left hand on the mat beside you, turn your right palm up. As you inhale, reach your right arm up towards the ceiling, and then over to the left side. And now press your right sit bone into the mat, and draw your right elbow back. Just breathe here. Back to center, lower your right hand to the mat, turn your left palm up, and inhale as you reach your left arm up, and over to the other side. Pressing your left sit bone into the mat. Back to center. Uncross your legs, and come on to tabletop. Coming onto all fours. If your knees are sensitive here, you can Roll up a blanket or a towel to give your knees extra padding. And if you don't have a blanket or towel handy, you can just roll up the back part of your mat for while we're in this pose. Give your knees extra padding. Spread your fingers wide and then lower your hands to the mat. Have your wrist creases parallel to the front of the mat and have your wrists directly below your shoulders, knees directly below your hips. If this is too much weight on your wrists, try pressing into the mat more with your knuckles and fingertips, making your wrists light. Or you can walk your hands forward an inch or two. This class is all about Metta, so make sure you're comfortable. Look after your body. Offer yourself loving kindness as we go through each pose. On an inhale, arch your back, lower your chest towards the mat and tilt your pelvis and look up. On an exhale, round your back, reach your spine towards the ceiling and let your head lower. Inhale, arch. And exhale, round. Keep moving through this, letting your breath determine the pace. If arching your back or rounding your back feels particularly good and welcome on your body, hang out there for a breath or so. And if something does not feel right, back off from it and do it a little less or avoid it completely. We're just waking up the spine here. Next time you come through neutral spine, pause here. You can stay where you are. I'm just turning to show you what we're doing. Now let your hips roll to the right. Let them hang out there. Maybe move them forward or back to find just the right spot where your hips get a really nice stretch. Just breathe into this. And then back to center and let your hips hang out on the left side, moving them forward or back to find just the right stretch. And now bring your hips back and then over to the right and forward and left, just making a big circle with your hips. And then pause and go the other direction. And then come to center, back to tabletop. Now this time bring your knees as wide as the mat, so wider than the hips. Point your toes and place the tops of your feet on the mat and bring your toes till they're touching. And now lower your hips to your heels and either walk your hands forward and then let your forehead lower towards the mat, or you can cross your arms and let your forehead rest on your forearms, or you can stack your hips and rest your forehead on your fist. Whichever version's most comfortable for you. We'll be here for 3 or 4 breaths. Even here, offer yourself metta, loving kindness. You've come to the mat. Your body will thank you after for feeling stronger, hopefully a little more flexible and more nourished. Begin to lift your hips up over your knees, walk your knees together, tuck your toes. Lift your knees up off the mat, and bending your knees, walk your feet forward to your hands. And then let your upper body melt towards the mat. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Try to keep your spine straight. You can maybe rest your hands on the mat or cross your arms, or option to place your elbows on your forearms, but keep your spine straight. Bend your knees as much as you need to, and then maybe straighten your legs. But only do so if you can do so without rounding your back. On an inhale, come halfway up. Keep your spine straight. Arms are straight. They just land on your legs wherever they land. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhaling, reach your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing, lifting your arms up over your head. Bring your hands to your heart. And release. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Knees are soft or slightly bent. As you exhale, send your hips back, lead with your chest, and fold. Inhale, halfway up. And exhale, fold. Inhale your arms out to the side, come all the way to standing. Bring your hands to your heart. And release. Inhale, lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, come halfway up. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhaling, reach your arms out to the side, all the way to standing, arms up over your head. Bring your palms together at your heart. And release. So we're going to do some breaths of joy. What they are is you come to a standing position. I'll demonstrate one, and then it's very easy to follow. So you inhale 3 times through your nose. It sounds like this. When you follow the inhale with your arms, so it goes like this. Bend your knees. As you exhale through the mouth, fold forward. And let it all out. And then come on back and we will repeat. And come join me. Couple more times. And exhale, fold, and hang out here. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Let the weight of your head, your shoulders melt towards the mat. On your next inhale, reach your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing. Lift your arms up over your head. Hands to your heart. And release. Come onto the front of your mat. And if you have blocks handy, this is where this next pose, they're useful. And if you don't have them, I will offer you options. So feet hip distance apart, feet parallel to the front of the mat. Step your right foot straight back behind you, bending your left knee. Hands on hips. Bend your left knee. Have your both hips parallel to the front of the mat. So right heel can either be lifted or pivot on the toes and turn the right heel in and lower that foot to the mat. If this is feeling more like a balancing pose than it should be, heel toe your left foot out to the left, or you just widen the stance, and that usually gives you more balance. Breathe here. On an inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Lower both hands to the mat. Step your right foot back as far as you can, and then lower that right knee to the mat. If you don't have blocks, just have your hands on the mat on either side of your left foot. Or if you're using blocks and it's more comfortable, you can place your hands on blocks. Right toes can be tucked or pointed, your choice. And now energetically send both hips forward. Try to melt into the pose. Can you let your hips relax forward into the pose? Now if you're using blocks, you can take them with you. If your hands are on the mat, just walk your hands back. And straighten the left leg. Bring your hips back towards the back of the mat. And now flex those left toes towards you. Really draw that left hip back. Breathe here. Bend your left knee, lower that foot to the mat and walk your hands forward again. Now bring both hands to the inside of the left foot. So it looks like this. And still send both hips forward. Press into the big toe and baby toe side of your foot evenly. So your foot is flat on the mat. From here, bend your elbows and lower your shoulders as close to the mat as you can. Option to stay here, maybe lower your elbows to the mat, or if you're using block, you can lower your elbows to the block, or just keep your hands right here. Wherever you are in the practice, breathe through it. Now press the big toe into the mat and push that knee, left knee, towards the left shoulder. Hug it tight. Just a couple more breaths. Breathe. And place both hands on the mat. Place the left hand to the outside of the left foot. Tuck your right toes under. Lift your right knee up off the mat and step your right foot forward to meet your left and fold forward. Inhaling, reach your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing, lifting your arms up over your head. Hands to your heart. And release. Now step your left foot straight back behind you, hands on hips, bend your right knee. And again, left heel can be lifted, or you can pivot on the toes and bring the heel in, and still bend your right knee. Both hips and shoulders are square to the front of the mat. Left knee is pointing in the same direction as your left foot. And breathe here. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. As you exhale, lower both hands to the mat on either side of the right foot. And step your left foot back as far as you can, and then lower that left knee to the mat. Send both hips forward. And breathe, either hands on the mat or on blocks. Try to relax your hips forward. Relax your jaw. And then walk your hands back, straightening your right leg. Flex those right toes towards you. And then bend your right knee, walk your hands forward, lowering your right foot to the mat. Now bring both hands to the inside of the right foot. So it looks like this. And now, bend your elbows, try to lower your chest towards the floor. Hug that right knee to the right shoulder. Either staying here or lowering onto your elbows, or if you have blocks, you can rest your elbows on the blocks at any height. And just breathe. Press into the big toe of the right foot. Hug that right knee to the right shoulder. And now place your hands back on the mat. Bring your right hand to the outside of the right foot. Tuck the left toes under. Lift the left knee up off the mat and step your left foot forward to meet your right and fold. As you inhale, reach your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing. Lift your arms up over your head. Hands to your heart. And release. Turn and face the side of your mat so you can take a nice wide stance. An approximate measurement where you want your feet to be is if you put your arms out to the side, your wrist is directly above your ankle, roughly. And then you can move them in or out a bit to make it comfortable for you. Press down in all four corners of each foot. So press into the big toe and baby toe and have your feet flat on the mat. Hands on hips. You're hinging at your hips, so lead with your chest. Keep your spine straight, shoulders back, and fold forward just halfway. Breathe here. You can stay here, so have your spine nice and straight. If your back starts to round, if it's starting to round here, come up until your spine is straight again, whatever height that is. Breathe here. You can stay here, or if you'd like a little more engagement, bring your arms out to the side. Reach your fingers away from you and draw your shoulder blades together if you've got your arms out to the side. One more breath. As you exhale, lower both hands to the mat and fold. If they don't reach, you can cross your arms and let your elbows dangle. Or if they don't reach, you can also place your hands on a block. Breathe. Place your hands on your hips and slowly come on up to standing. Pivot on your right heel and turn your right toes out. So your right foot is parallel to the length of your mat. Left foot, fingers are facing straight forward. Facing the same direction, with your bodies facing same direction as your left foot. Place your hands on your hips and bend your right knee. Try to keep your shoulders and hips parallel to the ground and shoulders stay straight above the hips. And now turn and look at your right knee. Make sure it's pointing in the same direction as your right foot. And ideally, you want that right knee above or behind the ankle. If it's out front, heel toe that left foot back. And press into that your right foot evenly on both sides again. Bring your arms out to the side, palms facing down, and turn and look over your right hand. Shoulders are soft. Arms are engaged, so reach your fingers away from you and draw your shoulder blades together. In Parshva side warrior. Lower your arms and straighten your right leg. So your legs are straight, but you have a micro bend in them. The knees are not locked. You want to be able to engage the muscles in the quads. Bring your arms out to the side, palms facing forward. Hinge at that right hip and lead with your right arm and reach your hands forward. Go as far as you can and then let your right arm come down and lift your left arm up. In Utthita Trikonasana, extended triangle pose. If this bothers your left shoulder at all, just place your left hand on your left hip. Breathe here. Offer yourself metta, compassion. Be okay with wherever you are in this pose. Slowly come on back up and lower your arms. Pivot on your right heel and bring the Right toes in. Feet are parallel to each other again. All four corners of each foot are rooted firmly into the mat. Feet are flat on the mat. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. As you exhale, fold forward. Breathe. Let go. Place your hands on your hips and slowly rise back up to standing. Pivot on the left heel and turn the left toes out. So the left foot is facing, is parallel to the long end of the mat. Hands on hips, bend your left knee. And again, make sure, take a look at your left knee. It should be pointing in the same direction as the left foot, and knee is above or behind the ankle, not in front. So you can widen this stance if you need to. Bring your arms out to the side, palms facing down, and turn and look over your left hand. Just breathe. Lower your arms and straighten your left leg. Bring your arms out to the side, palms facing forward. Arms and legs are straight. Reach forward with your left fingertips as far as you can. Try to keep space in that left side body. When you've gone as far as you can, lower your left arm down and bring your right arm up. And again, option to place the right hand on right hip if that's more comfortable for your right shoulder. Slowly come on back up and lower your arms. Pivot on that left heel and bring your feet together. So we'll come into a couple of balancing poses. We'll start with tree pose. So press your right foot into the mat. Have your right knee slightly bent. Start with your hands on your hips. Come onto the toes of your left foot and turn your left knee out to the side. Bring the sole of the left foot to the right ankle. Find a spot in front of you on the wall that you can focus your gaze. If you're outside during this practice, maybe focus on a tree. I find that really helps. And breathe. This is already tree pose. Maybe you stay here. Or option to bring the left foot and place the left foot firmly into the calf of the standing tree. And if you fall like I just did, just try again. Either staying here, bring your hands to your heart, or maybe reach your arms up over your head. Another option in tree pose is to bring the sole of the left foot to the right inner thigh. I'm having trouble with balance today. I'll offer myself metta. We just try our best. Either version of the pose. Lower your arms and lower your foot. Now place the sole of your left foot firmly into the mat. Hands on hips, come onto the toes of the right foot and turn the right knee out to the side. Slide the sole of the right foot to the left ankle. Focus your gaze on something and let your left knee be soft. Hands can stay on your hips for the whole pose. You can option to bring the sole of the right foot to the left calf or to the inner thigh, but avoid the knee. Option to bring your hands to your heart or lift your arms up over your head. And breathe. And lower your arms and lower your foot. So the next balancing pose we'll be doing is called Garudasana, eagle pose. So bring your arms up in an L-shaped position And then bring your elbows and forearms together. Lower your left elbow and tuck it under the right so the elbows are crossed. And the backs of your hands might touch. So it looks like this from the side. And now turn your palms together so your palms are facing each other. If you have any issues or shoulder injuries, option to place your hands on your shoulders. Or keep your hands here. And either way, lift your elbows and hands up and down. Bring your elbows forward. And maybe to one side and then the other. And then back to center. Now press down into the sole of your right foot and cross your left leg in front and over to the outside of your right leg. Focus your gaze on a spot in front of you, either staying here or tuck your left toes behind you. Bend your standing leg and fold forward. And breathe. And slowly come on back up. Uncross your legs. Uncross your arms and circle your shoulders. And then go the other direction. And come back into cactus arms or L-shaped arms and bring your elbows and forearms together. This time lower your right elbow and cross it under your left. And from here, turn your palms together and maybe grab your fingers. And on this side, you also have the option, just keep your hands on your shoulders. That's a nice option here. And just lift your elbows up and down. Bring your hands away from your face. Maybe move your elbows left or right. Wherever you get the best stretch for your body. And now this time, excuse me, press your left foot firmly into the mat and cross your right leg in front and over to the left side. Either staying here or tucking your right toes behind you. Bend your standing leg and fold forward in Garudasana. Breathe here. And if you fall out of it again, just try again. This is all a practice. And come on back up. Uncross your legs. And uncross your arms and circle your shoulders. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Bend your knees slightly. As you exhale, lead with your chest, hinge at the hips, and fold forward. Breathe here. Bend your knees as much as you need to keep your spine straight. Maybe straightening your legs, maybe not. Inhaling, come halfway up. As you exhale, fold. Inhale, reach your arms out to the side, all the way to standing. Hands to your heart. And release. Come onto the front of your mat, feet hip distance apart. Step your right foot straight back behind you. Place your hands on your hips and bend your left knee. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. Breathe. Lower both hands and step your right foot forward to meet your left. And now step your left foot straight back behind you, hands on hips, bend your right knee, hips and shoulders are square to the front of the mat. On an inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Lower both arms and step your left foot forward to meet your right. On an inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Exhaling, fold forward. Breathe here. Knees are bent or soft as much as you need to. And bend your knees completely and make your way to a seated position. So for this next pose, straighten your right leg out front. Left leg stays bent. Lift your left foot up off the mat, and with your right hand, place your left ankle on your right thigh, so above your right knee. Keep that left foot flexed. It's important that it's flexed, not pointed. Keep it flexed, it just protects your knee a bit. Bring your hands behind you, and I'll show you from the side what this will look like. Hands are behind you. With your hands, you can push your chest forward, and you might feel a little stretch here already. Or begin to bend your right knee, placing the sole of your right foot on the mat. Push your left knee away from you, keeping that left foot flexed. With your hands, push your chest forward. If you'd like a little more, bring that right foot in closer to you, while still pushing your chest forward. Breathe. Can you let go? Offer yourself metta, loving kindness, especially if this is challenging. And one more breath. And straighten your right leg and straighten your left. And now from here, place your hands behind you, feet flat on the mat. If this is still uncomfortable and you have a block, you can sit on a block, something to elevate your hips, or even take a blanket and fold it up. It may be easier. Try to have your legs straight. If your knees are slightly bent, that's okay. Feet flexed towards you. With your hands, push your chest, hands placed on the mat, push your chest forward. And then walk your hands forward. And breathe, sending your chest forward towards your toes, flexing the toes towards you. Breathe, let go. And then walk your hands back. And this time, straighten your left leg, bend your right leg, and with your right hand, lift your right foot up off the mat and place your right ankle on your left thigh above your left knee. Remember, foot is flexed, not pointed, flexed. Hands behind you. And then with the hands behind you, push your chest forward, using the floor behind you. Either staying here or bending the left leg and place the sole of the left foot on the mat. It looks like this from the side. Try to keep your spine straight. Try not to round your back. And send your chest forward. Push that right knee away from you. Option to bring your left foot in closer towards you for a deeper stretch. And breathe. Finding your limits, respect your body's limits, but play with it and see if you can go a little deeper. Find that edge, but don't overdo it. One more breath here. And straighten your left leg and straighten your right leg. And just windshield wiper your feet back and forth. And then keep your left leg straight and bend your right leg, right foot flat on the mat. Cross your right foot and place it to the outside of your left leg. And then lower your right knee towards your left. Keep that right foot flexed. Hands behind you, send your chest forward. Option to walk your hands forward. And breathe. Flex those left toes towards you. And breathe. Be here for a few breaths. This is Ardha Gomukhasana, half cow face pose. One more breath. And walk your hands back up. Uncross your legs. And now bend your left leg and cross your left foot and place it on the mat to the outside of your right leg. And now lower your left knee somewhere in the vicinity of your right. Ultimately, you want your left knee directly over top of your right knee. And then flex that left foot. Place your hands behind you and send your chest forward. I always say to myself, maybe it's a blessing if I can't come into the poses completely, because it gives me something to work towards. But just do your best. Do what you can. Option to bring your hands forward. And then slowly come on back up. Straighten both legs. And now bend the right leg and place the sole of the right foot and place it near the left inner thigh. If you have any issues with your lower back, bring that right foot a little closer to your knee. It just gives your lower back some space. Turn and face your straight leg. Press that left knee into the mat. Left toes pointing straight towards the ceiling. Place your right hand to the outside of your left leg. And now walk your hands forward. Try to reach your chest towards your toes. And now flex those toes towards you. Breathe into the stretch. Janu Shirshasana. With every couple of breaths, see if you can relax more deeply into the pose. Can you let go just a little bit more? And breathe. Walk your hands back. Place your right hand on the mat behind your right hip. Roll onto your right knee. Lift your hips right up off the mat and reach your left arm up and behind you. And then lower your hips back down to the mat. Straighten your right leg. Bend your left leg and bring the sole of your left foot to your right inner thigh. Place your left hand onto the outside of your right leg. And again, if your right foot is pointing to the side, bring it straight up. So the right foot is pointing straight towards the ceiling. On an inhale, lengthen your spine. As you exhale, send your chest forward towards your toes, maybe walking your hands forward. And breathe. With every exhale, offer your body to deepen just a little bit more into the pose. And then slowly come on back up. Place your left hand on the mat behind your hips. Roll onto your left knee and lift your right arm up and back, lifting your hips right up off the mat. And breathe. And then slowly lower your hips back down to the mat. And now place the sole of your left foot on the mat. Right leg is straight, left foot flat on the mat. So you can keep the left foot here or cross your left foot over your right leg. With your right hand, hug your left knee. On an inhale, straighten your spine, reach the crown of your head towards the ceiling. As you exhale, twist to the left and bring the left hand on the mat behind you. Inhaling, lengthen your spine. As you exhale, deepen into the pose. Come on back to center. Straighten your left leg and bend your right leg, placing the sole of your right foot on the mat on the inside of your left leg. With your left arm, hug your right knee. On an inhale, reach the crown of your head towards the ceiling. As you exhale, twist to the right, placing your right hand on the mat behind you. And back to center. Bend both legs, so knees are bent, and roll right onto your back. Gently hug your knees to your chest. If you want to lift your hips up off the mat, hug your knees tightly to your chest. Otherwise, you can lower your hips to the mat and knees are slightly away, and gently rock side to side. And now release your knees and lower both feet to the mat so knees are bent. Now cross your left leg over your right. So your knees are crossed. And now lift both feet up off the mat. Take your feet away from each other. So it looks like this so your feet are apart from each other. Grab your ankles if you can and pull your ankles towards you. If your ankles are not cooperating and are nowhere near your hands, if you have a couple of straps, you can place a strap around each ankle and then pull the straps with your hands. Keep your feet flexed. This is Supta Gomukhasana, reclined cow face pose. Pull your feet towards you gently, but firmly, finding that edge. And breathe. And release your ankles, uncross your legs, and lower your feet to the mat. And now cross your right knee over your left, and lift your feet back up, and try the other side. You may find you can grab your ankles on one side and not the other. Keep your feet flexed, so it's important that they're not pointed. Flex your feet and pull your feet towards you. Breathe here. And release your ankles. Keeping your knees bent, lower your feet to the mat. And now lift your right leg up and place your right ankle on your left thigh and let your right knee move away from you. Right foot is flexed. So it looks like this from the side. And now lift your left foot up off the mat. Reach behind your left knee, pull it towards you, and use your right elbow to push that right knee away from you as you draw your left knee towards you. Breathe into the stretch. And release your hands. Uncross your legs. And now lift your left foot up. The foot is flexed, not pointed, so flexed. Place that left ankle on the right thigh. Push your left knee away from you. And when you're ready, lift your right foot up off the mat. Bring that right knee towards you. Reach behind the right thigh. pull that towards you as you use your left elbow to push your left knee away from you. And breathe. Can you bring that right knee a little closer? Can you push that left knee away from you a little more? And breathe. And release your hands. Release your feet. And gently hug your knees to your chest. Rolling side to side. And then circle your knees going in one direction. Massaging your back. And then pause somewhere and go the other direction. And now move your knees away from each other and bring the soles of your feet together. So from the side, it's the same as this pose, but you're on your backs. Reach between your legs with your hands, grab the outside of your feet or your shins or your ankles, wherever you can grab, and pull your feet towards you. And if your elbows are anywhere near your thighs, push your knees away from you. And Supta Baddha Konasana. Breathe here. So this is a somewhat passive pose, but there is an effort to it as well, as you offer your knees away from you, pulling your feet towards you. But your spine is fully supported by the floor in this version. Breathe here. Then release your feet. Lower your feet to the mat. Keep the knees bent. Reach your arms up over your head and straighten your legs and give yourself a full stretch. And now, keeping your hips where they are, walk your feet over to the right. And now walk your hands over to the right as well. So you're making a banana shape with your body. Your left hand, hold out to your right wrist if you like. And breathe. You should get a nice stretch on that left side body. We'll be here for a minute or so. Now walk your feet back to center. Walk your feet over to the left side. Hips can stay right where they are. And now walk your hands over to the left as well. Maybe right hand holds on to left wrist or the other way around. Aim for a nice stretch on your right side body. And walk your feet back to center. Bring your body back to center. Bend your knees. Feet flat on the floor, knees bent. Bring your arms out in a T position. Slide your hips over to the right and let your knees roll to the left, and then turn your gaze and face the right side. You can soften your gaze here, close your eyes in this gentle twist. And slowly bring your knees back to center. Slide your hips over to the left and let your knees roll to the right. Now turn your head to the left and twist the other direction. And breathe. Slowly bring your knees and head back to center. And the next pose is Shavasana, but just before we do that, softly hug your knees to your chest and rock side to side. I'll be seated in a cross-legged seated position during Shavasana. You're welcome to sit in a seated meditation with me if you prefer. Otherwise, grab a blanket or a sweater, whatever you need, or an eye pillow for Shavasana. Or just as you are, straighten your legs. Let your arms rest on the mat, palms facing up. Let the weight of your body just sink right into the mat. Be supported by the earth beneath you. Notice your breath. Let it be gentle, deep. And as you come into Shavasana, take a moment and offer yourself some metta, some loving kindness. And let go. Allow your breath to deepen. Begin to wiggle your fingers, your toes, bringing movement to your arms and legs. Stretch your arms up over your head and give your whole body a nice big stretch. Whenever you're ready, gently roll over to your right side and make your way to a comfortable seated position. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.